Hunger in Barok by NVM Gonzalez. During 2 or 3 months of the year in Mindoro, there is hunger, a kind of half-famine as it were. And riding homeward down the empty bed of the river, early one afternoon, Cesar Manalo was thinking of this very phenomenon. He had just come from his coffee plantation and had been pleased to see how ill-kept it was. He had had a long talk with Selmo, the man in charge, and had demanded that the undergrowth which had been allowed to grow up between the trees be cleared away within a fortnight.
I could, I could not possibly that in fact. I had not as much as I passed by the coffee grove lately. Why I had to the clearings of course. To start, I could not possibly do that in fact. I had as much as passed by the coffee grove lately. I could not possibly do that. In fact, I had not much as passed by the coffee group lately. Why had two clearings of course. To search for sweet potatoes and cassava.
Oh my gosh.
I could not possibly do that. In fact, I had not as much as passed the coffee group. Why? I had to the clearings, of course. To search for sweet potatoes, cassava, and such other as might put some weight into the stomachs of 7 little boys.
Could it be that all days I have not realized the wool has been starving at all?
Under you. He rode on slouchily. The horse, a gray potro or stallion, lifted his head and sniffed the cool, late afternoon air, shook his mane, neighed a little, then lifted and switched his tail, swatting a couple of mosquitoes. He rode on slouchily. The horse, a gray potro. He rode on slouchily. The horse, a gray potro or stallion, lifted his head and sniffed the cool, late afternoon air, shook his mane, neighed a little, then lifted and switched his tail, swatting a couple of mosquitoes that had begun to buzz behind his master's ears. Smoke smudged the sky, for someone had been busy in his clearing, burning the felled trees and the underbrush. Go.
There was hopeful soul, I must say.
Sorry to himself. Some land and house in the town of Mansalay. But was considered a different man from most landowners. People would come to him and ask for a hillside to clear, and later pay him in rice after each harvest. He was about 48, and it was good indeed. He felt that at that age he had some property and was esteemed by people. Potro sniffed the air and shook his shoulders again. Tall cogon grew in the sandy riverbed, forming a number of grass islands, around which the path wove, then climbed up the low bank and turned into a coconut grove where Mang Cesar's house stood. Before he reached his gate, a man came to meet him. Boss gago! Before he reached his gate, a man came to meet him. Cesar. Go.
Hey, it's your parent Crispin. Hey, it's your parent Crispin.
Replied the man, looking up at Mang Cesar in the saddle and timidly stroking the horse's mane. Potro pranced about haughtily as Mang Cesar dismounted. The horse almost stepped on one of Pare Crispin's flat, veiny feet. Now,
Any news?
any news?
Any news?
Asked Mang Cesar. Pare Crispin rented the part of his land which asked Mang Cesar. Pare Crispin rented that part of his land which bordered Bonbon Creek in the northeast, and that troublesome neighbor had off and on trespass on the land. A loyal tenant, Pare Crispin, reported every untoward incident at the creekside. The felling of a prize apple tree, the howling of rattan, the gathering of honey. News. Go.
No, the place is quiet this time.
Replied Pare Crispin, but he added as if it was only an afterthought. Go.
I have mind to clear.
Go.
I have
Go.
I have mind to leave the clearing.
Mang Cesar said,
You're leaving?
Pare Crispin hesitated, leading Mang Cesar's horse to the bridle. He walked with the landowner toward the house.
You're leaving? You're kaingin? Your 3 boys and your wife?
Any longer.
Replied Pare Crispin,
Now, come.
said Mang Cesar.
Something is in your head. Probably it's the draw. The rain seemed lost this year, indeed.
Hey, the rain will come no more it seems.
Shit.
Hey, the rain will come no more it seems.
Both of them fell silent. Go.
I'm thinking of doing back to my old trade. I was a carpenter once, see, and before that, I was a fisherman. I can go to Samudi and get work there.
Go. Pare Crispin said, Go.
That would be foolish. Samagi isn't the place for a home-loving fellow like
Go.
That would be foolish. Samagi isn't the place for a home-loving fellow like you.
Mang Cesar said.
Go. Samagi was a big lumber camp. He knew where the men worked like carabaos 6 days a week and gambled away their earnings on Sundays. Pare Crispin looked away at the trees. Cuckoos began to call from somewhere in the grove.
But there's nothing a man can do with a rain coming days like this.
He said, Mang Cesar had a clear picture of Pare Crispin kaingin in his mind. He had been there only a week before. A whole hillside was now clean for planting, only the ground was too dry. Even the logs had cracked in the heat of the sun. Ito, pag ganon,
But you are a fellow
repeated Mang Cesar. Go!
who has a way with the soils. When the rain comes, you'll have the best kaigit in all Barok. And you and your wife and children, why, you will have a good harvest. There's not a drop of lazy blood in you.
Pare Crispin's eyes narrowed for a while. He didn't say a word but seemed to listen to the cuckoos in the grove. It was a slow twilight. A servant had come for Mang Cesar's horse and had taken off the saddle. Potro now stood at the back of the house, a wet sack of his back, his muzzle, inside the bucket of rice husk mixed with water and molasses.
You're not on your way somewhere else, Barok's queen. Or is it me you want? Why? Man, tell me what you've come for.
Said Mang Cesar, patting the tenant on the back.
Shoot them!
Cedric, nakikita sa kami. 1, 2, 3, go. Pare Crispin looked sideways in the direction of the horse Potro, enjoying his feed, almost shyly, like a young girl.
Hey, it's about samurai.
Oh, but I'm just giving you a loan.
Mang Cesar said.
I've my children and my wife. You know how it is.
Crispin said. Mang Cesar shook his head, grumbled a little, and began slapping the side of his pants with his leather horse.
Cedric, fuck you!
Mang Cesar shook his head, grumbled a little, and began slapping the side of his pants with his leather horsewhip. Payments were hard to collect. Usually, he had to send out somebody with a carabao and a cart to get his due. And Mang Cesar did not have much rice to give. He had sold all his palay except several cavans for his own household supply during the rest of the year. And Potro, and yes, 3 other horses needed rice husk for feed every day.
Your sweet potato did not yield yet this year.
He asked Pare Crispin. Ay! Go. The tenant looked up at Mang Cesar, gaped and then said, "Oh,
For 3 years. Now, we've eaten nothing but sweet potatoes.
wait,
Providence.
go."
For 3 weeks. We've eaten nothing but sweet potatoes. Providence will it so. Perhaps.
Go.
I'm afraid.
Said Mang Cesar slowly. Go.
I'm afraid.
Said Mang Cesar slowly. You have any?
Go.
Ay!
Ulitin niyo.
I'm afraid.
Said Mang Cesar slowly.
I can't let any longer.
Go.
I can't let you have any.
Go.
I pay you no, double next harvest.
Go.
I pay you. Ulit.
Go.
I'll pay you. Hey?
Go.
I'll pay you on next. I'll pay.
Go.
I'll pay you
Double.
double next harvest.
Third Pare Crispin. Go.
That's a long time off. And besides, I've no rice to give away.
Repeated Mang Cesar.
To men like you.
Hey, it's really hard with men like us.
Agreed Pare Crispin. Potro has emptied his pail of rice husk and molasses and now kick it away. The horse attract Pare Crispin attention once more, and as if speaking to himself, he repeated, "Go!"
It's really hard with us. If only the rain comes.
That night, after supper, Mang Cesar watched the moon rise over his coconut grove, and seeing his horse, Potro, in the yard, standing in the moonlight, he was reminded of Pare Crispin. Mang Cesar decided he would the next day ride up the empty river bed again and go to Pare Crispin place. And this was the first thing he did the next morning. There was heavy dew of the grass, and the ground seemed moist. It was as if something during the night the rain had still tightly come. Mang Cesar rode leisurely, playing with his leather horsewhip. When he reached the turn of the road that led to Bonbon, and his horse climbed up the river bank, and then slowed his gait as he passed through the wild banana groves. Mang Cesar, with his whip, began slapping the leaves and trunk, making loud crackling sounds. Soon he began to whistle. Go. Go na. Ayaw. Hito. Yan. He thought he would find Pare Crispin in his hut at the edge of his new clearing. He thought he would see the man and his wife pounding rice while three hungry boys looked on, but when he came to the hut, it was empty. The three skinny boys and the tall, strong-limbed woman, as Mang Cesar knew them all, were not there but were away up in the clearing. Mang Cesar did not see them at first, but he heard voices in that direction and recognized one of these as Pare Crispin's. Then he saw first the father's head, then the boys, then the wife, the heads bobbing up and down behind the huge trunks of felled trees. They were planting a planned rice. Go.
That's a good cavan of rice, seed he has. And the man has a way with the soil.
Said Mang Cesar. With his horse whip, he struck a big banana leaf and it made a sound like laughter.